the minute you leave office, so it doesn't matter what your post is, the minute you leave office, those 75,000 extra IRS agents should immediately audit you. And if you have any ill-gotten gains that you received, payment for, services rendered that had anything to do with your position in government, you should be arrested. AOC is worth like $20 million now. How is that impossible? That's graft. She is stealing from the American people, period, end of story.
It's really good.
Is it good? My guess, if you say it's really good, it tastes like every single drink you've ever made me taste, like some sort of off cotton candy.
Cold medicine.
Yeah, some sort of cotton candy.
Cold medicine. Okay.
Cold medicine.
All
what
right.
are we talking about? What do you want to talk about?
Well, we've been talking for 45 minutes, and I'm like, wait a minute.
Shouldn't it all be on camera?
Get over on this side.
People don't want to hear what we have to say.
Have you ever had to escape from Mexico?
Funny you should say that. I have never had to escape from Mexico, but I have been left behind in Mexico.
Who left you?
I've been left behind. I have been left behind in Mexico, and the Marine that I was waiting for, because he had the keys to the van, he had to escape from Mexico. So
why were you guys in Mexico?
We were doing a true exercise in San Diego, and the RNS section, which for some reason we needed 2 vans, so we had to have taken some CQB guys with us. Everybody decides we're going to have a hootenanny down in Mexico,
Tijuana,
and so we drive the
military vans down there.
Rental
military
vans. They were rentals, but they were still rented by the U.S. military. So we drive, and they were. What was that? What was that van that was popular back then? The Astro. They were Astro vans, and so we drove 2 vans down there. Chad Carlson. It was, I think Travis was even with us, and it was Jerka that had the keys to the van I was in, and we went down there, and it was exactly how you picture Tijuana in the 90s. You know. Everybody's doing shots. Every bar is going off the chain.
Everything's Jose Cuervo.
Yeah, everything is
margaritas.
It was like it was like Mardi Gras mixed with a little spring break down there. And so we're partying it up. And we went into this one bar that was definitely darker than all the other bars. And I was wearing a baseball cap, and I was housed. Like, I was definitely, I should not have been left alone, kind of, housed. And this stripper takes my hat. So I spend like, I don't know, 15 minutes trying to get my hat back from the stripper. And you know, she's doing the typical, I f***ed up because I was drunk. I know all she wanted me to do was give her $1, and then she gave me the hat back.
This a Mexican girl?
Yeah, and I'm trying to get my hat back. I finally get my hat back, and I look around.
Everyone's gone.
And everyone's gone. I am in this place all by my El Solo Lobo. And it's probably...
Well, you guys didn't have that no man left behind thing.
Oh, no. The thing about Scout Snipers is they're like, with Scout Snipers, there is a point where they're like, you on your own, bro. You on your own. So I'm looking around. It's like 2:30. I'm fucking drunk as a skunk, and I managed to get a cab and get to the border and walk across the border and get to the parking lot where the van is, and one van is gone. The other van is still there, thank goodness, because I don't know how I got back from. I mean, I probably could have took the trolley or whatever, but. That van is gone. The other van is still there, but I can't get in it. It's locked. And I have a pretty good skill set for getting into locked vehicles. Like usually it's kind of like when we used to break into the buildings, there would always be a thing where I could be like, oh, if you just do this and this, you're going to get in. Same thing with most vehicles. Like I could take your antenna off and figure out how to get in there. But I was too drunk, and I'm like, I know I took the antenna off and bent it all up and was trying to fucking get in this vehicle. And then I realized I'm in this parking lot that is right on the border that has like 9,000 cameras looking at it. And I'm like, oh, here I am fucking trying to break into this van. So I ended up just laying down. I just end up laying down on the right in front of the van. I'm like, I'm just going to go to sleep. Someone's going to show up that has the key. It's getting hot. The sun has come up and it's getting hot. And I am, I'm pretty close to vomitorium time. It's getting hot. So I get up and I'm sitting and I'm like, holy fuck, where is the key? And now I'm thinking maybe they all left and they just did like a, hey bro, the key's underneath the bumper or something. So I'm searching the car for this key. And I see this dude coming in shorts. He's kind of far away and he's coming towards, he's coming from the American side, right? He's not coming from Mexico. He's coming from the American side and he's trotting with a little bit of a limp. And I'm like, holy shit, that's Jerka.
How did he get in shorts?
He went in shorts.
Okay.
I'm like, holy shit, that's Jerka. Where the fuck is he coming from? And so he comes running up and he's like, I got the keys. We need to get the fuck out of here. Let's go. Hurry up. We got to get out. I'm like, what?
I had a coyote smug million.
I'm like, what the? I go, what the hell? Where were you coming from? Did you go to McDonald's or something? And he's like, no. I didn't have any money. So I got a cab to bring me to the border. I jumped out of the cab and ran across 4 lanes of traffic, climbed the fence, and broke into the United States. Had to go around a checkpoint to get to here to the car. I think they saw me. They're coming for me. I'm like,
you're a citizen.
I go, but I go. That's what I was like. Even if they saw you climbing the fence, I still, because Jerka was a white boy. I'm like, even if they saw you climbing the fence, I don't know if they would even come after you. I mean, sure, they're going to want to know what's that dumbass white dude doing, but I've seen 25 Mexicans walk right in front of a Border Patrol van and keep on going and them not do nothing. So one white guy, I don't know, but he's fucking, and when he said that, I'm like, you're full of shit. And he's like, no. And he flipped his leg around and he had a fucking 6-inch gash down the back of his leg from the barbed wire. He's like, no, I had to break into the United States. And then we got in the van and left.
Is there a way to climb over barbed wire?
The best way is to use a piece of clothing or carpet. Yeah, that's the best way. Unless you're Iraqi. If you're serious, if you're Iraqi and there's a 3-row concertina, 2 down and 1 high, somehow in man dresses and flip-flops, they can just breeze through them. Like they just really there's a technique that they use with their flip-flops that just breezes them right through. So they'll be on the other side of the wire, and then you'll turn your back, and then suddenly they're standing right next to you. I don't know how they do it.
Teleport.
Yeah, somehow they just breeze through it with their man dresses and flip-flops. But that was the closest thing to breaking into the country, Mexico.
Collapse of society.
Would
you rather have current night vision, or would you rather have a better rifle?
Better rifle.
How come?
Because you can.
But you still get to keep your old rifle.
Better rifle, because you can do more with a rifle than you can do with night vision. Night vision is very specific in nature and what you're doing with it, and while you can use it for a defensive purpose, meaning it's always nice to be able to see what's out there. It's mostly used in an offensive purpose, and Collapse of Society. What most people don't understand is you don't want to go to guns with people. You're better off being, not to use the word wrong, but you're better off being a gray man. You're better off not interacting with anyone than to interact with any force out there that you think that's a threat. Meaning, because, obviously people are going to be, if we have a collapse of society, there are going to be large groups of individuals that will be roaming the countryside looking for whatever they can take.
Hordes.
Yeah. Whatever they can take, whether that's
for your women,
whether that's Bloods, Crips, whatever, they're going to be looking for whatever they can take. They're going to go after soft targets. They're going to go after soft targets first, but you just don't want to get in a gunfight with.
So
you're
not doing one man CQB.
No one should do one man CQB because it doesn't last very long.
How about 2-man CQB?
Not even 2-man. There's
What do you think I'm going to say next?
As badass
3-man CQB.
Well, as badass as Delta is, I don't think they would do one man clears either.
Well, maybe if it's just a garage.
Maybe if it's just a garage.
Rectangle. Farmhouse.
You don't want to. I mean, the truth of the matter is when you're talking about collapse of society, you have to do two things. You have to stay away from people who have done nothing to prepare for the collapse of society. Because, again, even your, let's just say your suburban neighbor that waves to you every day and comes over on, for the Super Bowl party and brings chips and is a guy that you know, right? You're like, that's Bob. He's cool. He helped me fix a flat tire once, right? You do not know, you have no concept of what Bob is going to do when his wife and children have nothing to eat.
Well, he's so dangerous because Bob himself doesn't know what he's going to do.
That's what I'm saying. That you really don't have a concept of who people are until they are put in a situation where people that they really love and care about can't survive because they did not properly prepare. And if he's been over to your house and he's seen your shit, and then he comes over and is like, hey man, we are fucking starving to death. And you're like, I can't help you that much. Here's a can of beans. Well, he knows, right? And so you have no idea what he's going to do to
eat the child. She can make another one.
I mean, in
a lot of them, that's
certain
the first thing that happens is they eat the
kids.
End
of the world, they have been doing that. I mean, Stalingrad and Moscow, they munched on human flesh. So it's possible. So you don't really know. So you have to be aware of those outside entities, and then you really, really, really have to find like-minded people. You have to find like-minded people that hold some of the same values and ideas that you do, because a community is what's going to survive. A lone wolf in the mountains with his fucking get out of town pack is going to survive for a minute, but not very long, because it's like we were talking about the other day with a black belt. How many
black belts have been career-ended by white belts?
Even just still, if you're a black belt, how many white belts could you fight?
If a white belt doesn't know the rules.
How many white belts could you fight before a white belt would eventually beat you? So it's just like that. You have to think of community, and you have to be able to set up that protective layer, because, we've talked about it here. Eventually you have to go to sleep. Eventually you have to take a shit eventually. And you need to know that the person that is out at the gate has the same mindset that you do, and that you can be able to get that sleep.
Yeah, and he's not asleep at the same time.
Yeah, that he's not asleep at the same time. So
that's why you need 20,
I don't even know how we got
guys
on that part of the subject. We're deep into the
I asked about night vision.
I was just looking night vision for a video that I can't remember which one it was, but you guys were talking about surviving, and so many of the comments were, I don't have to prepare because I have a rifle.
Oh yeah, always they said that. James always said, you're going to go up there thinking you're a badass. You're going to knock on the door and you'll be like, will you trade this Glock for some rice?
Here's the problem with that mentality. The problem with the mentality is if you think you have training and skills and you are just going to take what other people have amassed, meaning if the hippies down the street from your house have been storing corn because they're hippies and they know how to do that, and you think, all I need is a gun and then I'm going to go take whatever the hippies have. Guess what? You have now become part of the problem, and that might work that might work for you the first time. It may even work for you the second time. But there's going to be a point where you are going to be hunted down and killed because you are the problem. Why not go down there and talk to those hippies and be like, hey, there are people that are going to come. There are people that are going to want to come and take all your stuff. I have the necessary skill set to keep that from happening. Could we trade that skill set for some of that corn so my kids don't starve to death? You'll probably find that those hippies would have given you the corn anyways. So if that's your mentality that you're just going to, roam the woods and fucking take from other people, guess what? I'm going to fucking kill you. That's just all there is to it. You're going to get hunted down like a fucking dog and you're going to get killed because you don't want to be part of any society, whatever it is. That's not a good strategy. And that really is kind of the, you've been in your mom's basement too long eating bologna sandwiches. You have to form family units. You have to create a society that people want to be in. You can't just roam the countryside taking from other people. Because, again, that works to a certain point. But even the Mongols don't exist anymore. Like, the Mongol hordes don't exist anymore. It doesn't work forever. And eventually society will fucking find you, hunt you down, and kill you.
Not only that, no matter how careful you are, while you're sneaking up to the side door of the house or whatever, you're not accounting for the fucking 11-year-old laying in a fucking bush with a 10-22 that's just going to fucking dump rounds in you. Like, your whole plan can fucking change. Everybody's going to have a rifle.
Well, the other thing is the lone wolf mentality. There's nothing wrong with I say that because there's nothing wrong with a lone wolf mentality, but a lone wolf mentality to succeed is very defensive. It's not offensive. Meaning if you've got, your fucking beans and rice and your 55-gallon drums buried on the property and you want to lone wolf it, it's much easier to do that defensively than offensively because you, again, just like John said, you don't ever know what the real threat is. I don't care how long you lay on the ground and watch the hippies bring out their corn. You don't know what the real threat is. So it might work once or twice. Again, eventually you're not going to succeed in your effort.
Not only that, I mean, how many guys have had an injury where you had to go get sutures? When you woke up to that morning, did you plan on that injury? How many guys ever been in a fucking vehicle accident or come upon an accident where they have to be extricated from the vehicle? You think they planned that this morning? Your whole entire day can change within a matter of seconds. And that's what's going to kill you. It's going to be the fucking infection or the, it's going to be the onset several days later.
Mm-hmm. And the truth is those hippies that you stole that corn from, they're the ones that are going to be able to stop that infection.
Plus, you can't even eat corn. Like, you need to look up nixtamalization. Like, your body won't even absorb fucking nutrient. I know. But there's a dude out there that's like, check, roger that. I'm going to go buy a bunch of corn tonight. Like, it won't do any good for you.
Yeah.
We always talk about how people talk about being prepared because they're shooters, and it's like that's the threshold to to start being prepared. Now what? What skill do you have? What supplies do you have? Everybody that's going to survive can shoot a gun already.
All of a sudden, out of the blue on the live feed, dudes are like, what's the best AR mag? And I'm like, I don't know, probably PMax, buy PMax. They're like, but what about these other mags? I'm like, why buy the other mags when everybody's marketing is we're just as good as PMag? Why don't you just buy the PMag? You can buy a case of PMags, 100 of them for $10 a piece. Like, just how many should I have? As many as you can fucking get. Like, if PMags, if you couldn't get magazines tomorrow, and the only magazines that existed were the ones you have, how many would you want to have? That's your answer, right? Whatever that is. Yeah. And then those magazines don't do you shit if you don't have fucking bullets for them. So you should probably get some bullets. And rather than buying 4 AR-15s, get you fucking a couple of 100 mags and a few thousand rounds of 5.56 and a rifle or two. Like, but all the time, man, we're just, what generator should I buy? I go, you have a lot of options, but you're not ever going to find a single person who's like, man, I shouldn't have bought this Honda generator. Generac makes them. There's clones of them. Yamaha everybody makes a generator. But everybody's marketing is we're just as good as fucking Honda. Why don't you just get the Honda?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's just a starting point anyways. And most people haven't been punched in the face either.
No, absolutely have not.
Especially the guys that are running around with guns. Most people haven't been punched in the face. I don't know. It's just it's an interesting concept, and the older I get, the more I realize that the only thing that is going to survive an EMP, the fucking apocalypse, the floods, whatever, the only thing that's going to survive is those people who are willing to make communities.
The Amish.
Well, the Amish won't even know what happened, right? They're going to be like, they're going to see these fucking, hordes of people running around, and they're going to be like, what the fuck is going on in the English world? What are the English doing? Roaming around trying to eat corn. You dumbasses, you can't eat corn.
All those little feral Amish kids though, they've all got cell phones. They're all hiding them and shit.
So
have you seen this EMP shield?
I have seen the EMP shield. Yeah.
Do you have one?
I don't have one.
If you were going to put an EMP shield on one of your vehicles, which would it be?
Ooh, it would probably be the Nissan.
Really?
It would probably be the Titan.
You wouldn't go like for the mini truck or something?
I don't believe that
your diesel.
I don't believe that the EMP will affect the mini truck. I believe that everything in the mini truck is
end of the world.
End of the world.
You have to have the one vehicle that you're going to have.
The Titan.
That's what you're going with.
Because everything on the Titan works.
But everything on the Titan,
on the Titan
it's
works.
all servos and drive. It flies by wire.
Yeah, but I'm putting an EMP shield on there, right?
Okay.
I know you're saying, why don't you put it on the Dodge?
I was thinking the Ford.
I just put, you know how much money I just put into the Dodge, and do you know what truck does not currently run? The motherfucking Dodge.
I thought you just took it to the man.
I did take it to the man, and you know what the man did? The man fixed everything that every other mechanic just gaffed off. Like, he fixed a ton of shit, right? He fixed a ton of shit. And now the electrical system doesn't work. I pulled it out of Sperling's house the other day, started it, drove it, completely shut down. I'm coasting on the road because of this piece of shit Dodge. Dodge, you make the worst fucking vehicles ever. I don't care what you say, Jack Garland. Fucking Dodges suck.
Is it still sitting there where it died?
No, I basically I tried to find neutral because obviously it's electronic, so you can't. I got it. I was able to get it in neutral, and fortunately, we're pulling out of John's place. There is a little bit of a gradient, so I was able to roll back into the field, and then I spent like 45 minutes with a hammer hitting everything inside the truck until
all the plastic's broken.
Hit everything inside the engine bay until when I put the key in, I could get just a little bit of power. It started. I rolled it onto John's property, and it's sitting right there. There's an issue with the electrical system now. So
don't leave it in the field, man. Mice will chew it up.
You know what? At this point, I would love if somebody would declare it the HVT #1 and fucking Air Force would fly by and drop a fucking JDAM on it. That's how mad I am about that. I mean, I could have bought 3 trucks with the amount of money I've put into that stupid Dodge.
I got you. I got a brand new transmission in mine.
I hate that truck.
I don't even have 100 miles on that transmission.
It's a love-hate relationship in the sense that the only cool factor about the Dodge is when it runs, I can go 1,200 miles and it doesn't even fart. But as soon as it decides it's done playing, then it's catastrophic. It is always catastrophic. I have not changed one thing on that truck where they didn't go, it's going to be $2,000. Nothing.
Should say Range Rover.
Nothing.
I keep mine because it's got to pull that giant fucking trailer.
Yeah. So I'm very upset with the Dodge right now. So it's sitting, and I am sure that it's going to cost $2,000 again to fix whatever is wrong with it. It's just I hate
take
that
it
Dodge.
to the same dude.
Well, I know if I take it to him, it's going to be $2,000. I think after doing my assessment that it's just all the cables. So I think that the cables need to be replaced.
What cables?
the
battery power cable?
battery cables. I think the battery cables need to be replaced because I can move even no matter how tight I make them, I can still move them. So I think it's just not connecting properly, and that's what's happening. So when I hit it with a hammer, it works. So yeah, fuck that Dodge. Like if we wanted to, if you have a minigun, and you want to do a video,
you better be sure we know a dude. There's a dude
blasting a Dodge. We can blast a Dodge. That's how
you could sell
bad.
You could sell the parts off of that truck and make a killing.
Maybe, but then again, I don't. John, you could sell the parts off that truck and make a killing.
Evan just heard you. He'll do it.
Do you want to set up?
He'll split it with you.
Do you want to set up the page and have the hordes of zombies that are going to come to be like, I can get that tire down at Phil's for $1. Why? I don't know why you want $20. You want the hordes of people. That water pump looks like it's 5 years old. I don't know if I want to pay $10 for that water pump. You know what I'm saying? That's the problem with selling it that way. Anyway, so no, I would not put it on the Dodge, and I don't think the Unimog needs one. That's the thing that needs it because it's all electric. Everything has got a fucking circuit and a switch and a.
Man, every time I see an old man driving around with like one of them old fucking trucks, you know? And every one of those, if it's running down the road now, it's got like a LS1 motor or some bullshit, so it wouldn't run either. But I should get one of those old trucks like Grandpa had, Yeah,
an old truck. That's the way to go if you're worried about EMP.
Yep, and
the less electronics, the better.
And in all the survival book series, man, the glass gets broken all the time. So have some extra windshields.
Why does the glass get broken?
Because of gunfights, man.
Oh, gunfights? Yeah, true.
Yeah, gunfights.
True. You got to be careful with gunfights. Well, the problem is, and that goes back into, I think, Nut and Fancy. He was talking about this, about what kind of rig you're going to drive around in. What do you drive? If you have to move from your area, what is the vehicle that you want to drive?
What do you come up with? Bicycle?
Well,
dog cart?
His thing
Llama.
was at the time, this was probably 10 years ago too, that I remember this video. His thing was like a minivan, a nondescript, something very nondescript, something that doesn't scream, G.I. Joe or whatever.
Screams Haji.
Something very nondescript, something low profile that could get, to and from where people aren't going to notice it. The problem with that is, and that's kind of one of those things about like the Marine Corps with the black boots in the first Gulf War. There was an idea that was spread around through the Iraqi army about the troops that were wearing the black boots. And so the Iraqi army was very, very afraid of Marines, not because of anything we had done up to that point, but because they were wearing black boots in the desert. Those were the baby eaters. And so this had got spread around. And so the Iraqis were very afraid to even surrender to the Marine Corps because of the boots. When in reality, the Iraqis didn't realize that the fucking Marine Corps was poor and they weren't going to pay to have fucking tan boots, right? That's all we had was black boots. Well, the problem with a nondescript vehicle, like he's saying, like a minivan or anything like that, is in a let's just say a government collapse, right? We're in a situation where law enforcement is not responding. The truth is, vultures are always going to go after easy targets. So if you think that driving around in a minivan is going to keep you from being targeted, you're the number one target.
I think people don't take into account that they're going to hit that minivan looking for girls.
Well, they're going to hit. I mean, the reality is, if you think about it, right, you're in an environment where there's no rule of law.
Yep.
Right. You're in an environment where there's no rule of law. In a fucking minivan.
Plus, that van has fuel in it. That
driving,
van probably has food in it.
There's probably food. There's probably
slaves in it.
All kinds of stuff that's going to be in that van that it becomes a commodity in that scenario. Whether that's people, food, gas, tires, whatever it is that they're looking for. But those same individuals are going to be less likely to attack an MRAP because of what's inside of an MRAP, right? We assume that whatever's inside of the MRAP is just going to be more guns. You don't, if you smack a hornet's nest, it's because you're like, this is going to be fun. It's never fun, right? It's never fun except for the people videotaping you getting your ass whipped by hornets. That's the same thing. The Bloods and Crips stopped all commercial enterprises once the Marine Corps put boots on the ground in Los Angeles. Once we put boots on the ground, all commercial enterprises ended. They didn't do that when the National Guard was there. They kept all their shit going when the National Guard was there. Why? Because they knew the National Guard wasn't a real threat. Once the Marine Corps showed up, even though technically we weren't a real threat either to the operations of the Bloods and Crips, because we didn't have there was no shoot on sight order or anything like that. It was just, don't let anybody come through this fucking street. But it was the reputation of that made them stop doing their commercial enterprises. And that, contrary to what people believe, that is why the riots ended. The riots ended because the Bloods and Crips stopped making money, because all their commercial enterprises ended. And because they stopped making money, that's when, if you can go back and look this up, that's when the Bloods and Crips were on fucking News Channel 5 shaking hands going, hey, there's a new peace, the riot's over, we love each other, because they stopped making money. The Marine Corps left. We went back to Camp Pendleton and shit, and I remember when this happened, it was fucking hilarious. As soon as we pulled out, probably a couple days after we pulled out, the Crips came out and said, we're going to start the fucking riots up again. We're going to start the riots up again. Because they were making easy money, right? If you can rob Walmart, you're fucking making easy money. And so they're like, we're going to start the riots up again. And the response was a very psyops response, and I don't know who thought of this, but it was pretty smart, is they said, okay, the Crips are going to start up again. The Marine Corps is coming back to Los Angeles, and they're going to bring more Marines. And so they say that on the news, but then the footage they show footage of Marines getting ready to go
from Grenada.
From Grenada, right? Guys are putting on their fucking steel pot helmets and shit. And the next day, the Crips came out and said, "No, we was just kidding."
Heartbreak Ridge, baby.
Because it's once you constrain their financial resources, it's better if we're not there.
So, are you telling me that the Bloods and the Crips have EMP shields on all their vehicles?
I bet they do.
And which one you would put this on the Titan?
I would put that on the Titan for sure.
So, into days, you're still warlording. You're running around with like a technical,
right,
with the Nissan Titan, because of EMP shield.
Because of EMP shield.
So if you want to control your area and be your warlord, EMP shield.
Is this a car one?
That's a car one. You use code SOE. It gets you $50 off your order at EMP shield. You have those on all the circuits in your house?
I don't have them on any circuits in my house.
Are you going to put them on the circuits in your house?
You haven't given me the code yet. I'm waiting for the code so I can order it.
Okay, so I have them on everything in the building, and we had some shit happen last winter when they were throttling all the power. Fried the gate opener. The one power pole on the property that's not EMP shield protected, fried the gate opener, $1,400 to fix that. I could have, for $200, I could have protected it. Cost $1,400 to fix it.
Have you now EMP
No, of course not.
Why not?
Because Tad hasn't put it on yet.
Oh, Tad. That would be my other problem is I need somebody to put it on.
Well, I'll have the EMP shield guys come put it on.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. Yeah, let's put it on the Titan. Because I want to, again, if it's the end of the world, I should be moving in style.
Yes.
Not the fucking...
What rifle would you have in the bed? Was that called a rifle? What machine gun?
It depends on what phase we're in. Phase one, it's going to be the 1919 and probably a Dishka 43. No, I can't think of the name of the number. It'll be the 1919 probably, but phase two will be a 240 Gulf or a 50 cal.
Why not just start off with the M2?
Because when the rule of law goes down, it's going to take a minute before the National Guard guys just leave their posts and go home. And then when that happens, then I have a 50 cal. You gotta operate like a warlord status where you gradually increase your footprint. I mean, the baller thing, because I'm just putting a machine gun in the back of the Titan, right? The real baller thing is I know where there's an M1 Abrams, and it's just a padlock.
Are you sure it runs?
Yeah, it runs. It runs. So, because
there's shells inside it?
There's actually more of them.
Could you move the shell by hand?
Are they using an autoloader now? I don't think they're. I think they're still manually loaded.
You think somebody carries those rounds to the tank?
Yeah, but having a tank is not about a main gun. It's not about a main gun. Having a tank is having an M1 Abrams is about nobody on the street has anything that can do anything to an M1 Abrams, right? Nobody has anything that can do anything to an M1 Abrams, and I can just drive through your house. Let's just drive through your house, and then an M1 Abrams has a coax machine gun, a remote controlled machine gun on the top. I feel like there's 3 machine guns.
What's coax mean?
It means it's attached to the main gun. So when you see the main gun moving around, wherever the main gun is pointing, you can also shoot a machine gun instead of. There's actually some really, really good footage coming out of the Israeli conflict of the Merkava tanks doing that, where the Merkava tanks are just driving up, and there's RPG threats that their defense systems are actually taking out, and then you'll see the turrets will turn, and then they'll just start lighting them up with the machine gun.
Isn't the turret turn pretty slowly?
No, I mean they move new modern tanks. Their turrets move pretty fast.
Yeah.
I mean it's still relatively slow, but if the way this works is if you're a bad guy and you're in a trench that's 100 yards in front of the tank, and you pop your head out to shoot the RPG at the tank, it doesn't matter how fast, because they're operating in 2 tank systems, and so those machine guns get on that hole pretty quick and just fucking light it up. And that'll be a 7.62 coaxial gun, probably.
How are you gonna feed it?
With 7.62 bullets?
No, the fuel.
Oh, the fuel? I'm gonna just roam around and what did he say? I'm gonna use the super siphon. I'm just gonna super siphon it.
You can't put anything in those nowadays, right?
Well, I mean the diesel turbine.
That's a helicopter turbine, isn't it?
It's a diesel turbine engine that requires JP8, which is a diesel fuel. So
in theory,
I could put diesel in it and it'll still run. It just won't run It won't run as efficiently as.
Can you put gasoline in it sometimes?
No, you can't put gasoline
Not at all.
Yeah, the military doesn't use any multi-fuel vehicles anymore.
How far back do I have to get a run anything motor?
75, I think.
I see a 65 Studebaker for sale all the time. It's a deuce and a half.
That one you might have to check, because that might have a gas engine.
It says multi-fuel.
Oh, if it says multi-fuel, that's the way to go. I mean, I say it's the way to go. If you get a modern 5-ton, right? If you get a modern 5-ton,
like an LMTV,
or just the 5 tons, not an LMTV, or even an LMTV will work. Or
do they even make a modern 5? Yeah, they don't make the old looking 5-ton anymore.
It doesn't look like
right?
Yeah, but it's still considered the same family of vehicles. If you get a modern one and then you get an old one with a multi-fuel engine in it, you're gonna want the modern one, because it just drives better, it handles better, it holds more shit. They're just the newer 5-tons are just better. It just means you have to put diesel in it.
Should we buy that black one?
The LMTV. The problem with that black one is he has set it up so specific. Like it's such a specific rig with all the stuff that he's put on it that I don't think we have the need for it, because the reality is that thing is a support truck for heavy equipment. Like if you had 5 dozers on the property and we were out, really doing real work with tractors, that would be it would be perfect. It'd be perfect because it carries fuel. It has all the toolboxes. It has all the air on it. It has all that shit on there. But it's a support vehicle. And as much as, because again, I'm a military vehicle nerd. I would buy it just because it looks cool as shit. But again, it would be a waste of money because it doesn't support any of our needs really. Like even at John's, it wouldn't really support my needs because I don't have the heavy equipment to operate with it.
It would support the Unimog tractor.
I mean, it would, but again,
is it
necessary?
Support your zero-turn mower.
It would just be too much overkill, right?
No,
It'd be too much overkill. It's like sending aircraft carriers over to Israel. It's too much fucking bullshit. We wasted too much money just to try and get in a fight.
Seems to be off the radar now.
Yeah, because fortunately for the American public and the American servicemen out there, Iran didn't fall for the bait.
Did you see the whistleblower on the YouTube stuff just came out?
You said something about it earlier. I didn't.
So you know how Elon Musk came out and he showed that there was clear communication. The White House was telling Twitter what to remove and who to ban. Mm-hmm. Same shit was happening on YouTube, and it got busted out yesterday. At the same time, a bunch more shit came out that there's a bunch of payments straight from China to Hunter Biden that nobody's discussing. So much so that even the bank came through and said, hey, we need to reassess this customer, our relationship with this customer. There's something happening here.
Yeah, the problem is that the Democratic Party has corrupted the Department of Justice to such a point that the rule of law doesn't exist.
The FBI has added a bunch of more emblems to this is an identifier that this person is a domestic terrorist.
Is the American flag the number one thing?
The American flag's there.
Of course it is.
The Gadsden flag's there.
Anybody,
the Agorist flag is there. Anything that's in your interest of freedom, it's on there.
If I handed you a piece of paper, if I worked at the FBI and I said, this is an identifier of a terrorist within the United States, and it had the American flag on it, anywhere, I don't care what order it was in, anywhere, if it had the American flag on it, and you accepted it, and you looked at it and went, yep, I can see that, you should have immediately been fired.
Yeah, you are in fact a terrorist.
You should have immediately been fired. You're not a terrorist. You're a goddamn Nazi. You're a fucking Nazi stooge. You should have immediately been fired. The whole point of being an FBI agent, you swore an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States of America, which includes that stupid flag. So, fuck the FBI. I mean, I say that way too broadly. There are hundreds and hundreds of people who work for the FBI that are real Americans.
Were you sitting?
But because those hundreds and hundreds of FBI agents that are real Americans will not stand up and say, you've crossed a line. You've crossed a line with this bullshit. Unfortunately, they're part of the problem too.
Were you in here when I read the question? Amanda and I did a question and answer video. I don't know when you walked in. And one of the questions from somebody had written in was like, hey, I've hit up a lot of large podcasters about this and nobody has touched this. I want to know, when the government sues these corporations and assesses all these fines, where does that money go? What happens to that money, right? No victim, no crime. But they go around and they put forth these huge fucking lawsuits on these people. Not that anybody's complaining. The government just does it themselves. Where does that fucking money go?
It goes into a soft pool. So it goes into a pool of money that the government can use for whatever they want.
But it's never identified. We don't know where it goes or who has it at the end.
No, it just goes into it. Basically, there's like a witch's cauldron that they just throw it in, and they'll be like, "Hey, guess what? You have a budget next year."
I feel like 70,000 new IRS agents, right? They just hire all these people, and then they tell these people, "Hey, if you want to keep your job, you want a promotion, or you want a raise, you have to go find your own crimes, right? You have to go out and witch hunt and build a case And then if there's any revenue, your bonus is going to come off the revenue. That's almost how that shit seems nowadays.
Unfortunately for Americans, is the way they are doing the hiring and the way they are doing the staffing. They don't have to do that. They're hiring the people that want to do that, right? They're hiring the people that are hungry to go after fucking, Mom Kettle in fucking Arkansas that didn't pay a $2 fucking.
So they're hiring Democrats to attack Republicans, basically.
I mean, for the most part, I would say that's true.
I heard something the other day. The fastest way to create a Republican is start a business. If you start a business, you will become a Republican.
If you start a business or you get it, the truth is, if you're not
on welfare or
making a lot of money, just looking at your paycheck is a good way to be like, fuck the government. I mean, because again, on a daily basis, the government doesn't do anything for you.
I just said that. Like that whole fucking podcast.
They don't on a daily basis. The government, there's nothing that they do for you. They don't grant you any rights. Like, when you think about like the LGBT community, and they're all excited because Democrats are in there. Mm-hmm. The Democrats haven't given you anything.
No, they're the ones that actually took it away from them.
They haven't given you anything. You don't, because one side or the other is in office does not mean you get more or less freedom. You actually live in the same fucking world that you lived in before they were in office. So when Trump was president, you live in the same fucking world. No, they didn't grant you anything. So it's a bunch of horseshit, really. Mostly horseshit.
I had a couple comments. They weren't comments. I had something that I had messaged. I don't see it here, though.
While he's looking for that, you're talking about warlord status. When do you get issued your gold AK? Like, is that before the 1919 or is that after?
That's what, look here. If I roll through the gates down there in an M1 Abrams, if I don't pop out of the hatch with a gold AK, I mean, that's when you get that status, right? Yeah. You get the status once you clear that first armory.
Okay.
Right? Once you clear that first armory, there should be a motherfucker following me around. Tyler would be perfect for this. There should be Tyler following me around and just spray painting all the guns that are going to go on the M1 Abrams gold, right? Just gold. Yeah, Tyler would be perfect for that, man. I need you to learn how to play an instrument
and clean my shoes.
Yeah, and clean shoes, but play an instrument so I can have like theme music as I'm rolling around in the tank. Yeah, and get a bunch of gold spray paint.
So anarchy is not a failed state. People see anarchy and they think it's just this collapse of society, right? A failed state is where the government does things to you and not for you. I thought that was pretty good. And then I had another one that I'm not sure how we're going to do this yet, but stop believing in government. You don't believe in Santa Claus, leprechauns, or the Easter Bunny, yet all of those have done more than your government. All of those have done more for you than your government has.
It's true. Well, the government as an entity, the requirement is belief.
Yeah.
Right? You have to believe in the government for it to even exist. And I think I do believe that there was a time when believing in the government was the smart play. But they're so corrupt now. Like they every day they are doing things that are against your, best interests. And when I say against yours, I'm talking about America as a whole. Everybody.
They are the organized crime.
They are doing it against when a motherfucker can say he wants $105 billion to support wars around the world that we have nothing to do with. Man, that's not in your best interest. It never has been. It never has been. This is globalization at a huge level, and globalization is not in your best interest. It is not. You don't want someone in Brussels deciding on whether or not you can grow carrots. It's just it's not within your best interest. I say, Bloods, Crips, LGBT, Black Panthers, unite and do something about this corrupt government, because it's not in anybody's interest. These people do not operate in our interest whatsoever.
Do you think a government, not necessarily this one, but a government is necessary to have a society?
A society as big as the United States, yes.
Small. But you should have small government.
Yeah, it should be strictly a constitutional government, and it should be exactly like it was set up for. That the only thing that the government is really for is national defense and border security. That's it.
Which means your problems within your territory, those are your problems.
Yeah, that's it. Everything else is handled at the state level. You know, if your state wants abortion, good for your state. If your state doesn't want abortion, good for your state. It's not California's fucking business whatsoever what goes on in Texas. None whatsoever. It's not their business, just like it's not Texas' business what goes on in California. If California wants to turn into some fucking liberal utopia where everybody gets to poop on the street, good for California. Maybe there's a bunch of people out there in the country that just love stepping in poop, and they'll move to California, and they'll just be happy. But that's the way it should be. This whole fucking thing of where we're forcing everyone in the United States to toe some fucking line that doesn't matter in South Dakota. Right? It doesn't matter in South Dakota because they don't have that problem. Then
people's lives are so easy that they can dictate what you do on your property where they can't see what you're doing, right? If you had people in the city, they would come out here and lose their shit over you having rabbits in cages, right? Because they have their lives are so simple that they have time and energy to put into something that is not in front of them that they had to seek out to even find that it existed. It doesn't affect them in any way. It's the same shit with your, I don't even know what to call them, eco warriors or whatever, but it's the same. Yeah. Every time fucking winter comes, remember winter's here, bring your pets inside. My dogs would eat you. Like literally, come here. My dog will kill and eat you while it is outside in the cold, while you're out trying to rescue my dog.
Like, have better pets.
Yeah, have animals that you didn't have to human engineer to keep them fucking. You man created that animal. That's why it doesn't live in the fucking wild anymore.
Yeah, have better pets.
We spend $1,000 every year on straw, $1,000, and the fucking animals could give two shits about it. And every year I'm like, I'm not doing this again. And then here I am, fucking trailer loads of straw, and I'm like, all right, guys, let's fucking wall this straw up against this dog kennel. And you know damn well the dog ain't going in there. The dog never fucking. There's a dog loo. There's carpet, there's straw, and all the dog does is he goes in there and fucking grabs the fucking straw bales and pulls them out and rolls them all around and then sleeps in the ice. Every fucking year, man. I put tarps over the rabbits and I put straw in there. All they do is shit on it and it turns into concrete, and then they fucking kick it to one side, and where do they sit? The part where there's no fucking straw. Like, every year I'm like, I'm not doing this again. And every year there's thousands of fucking posts from fucking Karens worried about a fucking dog that is on somebody's property that they can't even physically see. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, mind your business. So small government, you in order to facilitate something as big as the United States is, you have to have some form of government. And then I would still say that the Supreme Court is that the Supreme Court is still a good idea. Just for state fights, right? Because you're always going to have one state that's going to be like, everybody has to have an electric car, and another state that's going to be like, fuck that, you can have whatever you want. There needs to be a mediation in there, right? And you need someone that's going to go, well, California, you can do whatever the fuck you want, and Texas, you can do whatever you want. End of the story. So, yeah, small government. And the other thing, like I said in the podcast the other day, the minute you leave office, so it doesn't matter what your post is, the minute you leave office, those 75,000 extra IRS agents should immediately audit you. And if you have any ill-gotten gains that you received, payment for, services rendered that had anything to do with your position in government, you should be arrested. That's simple. If if you're a page that works at fucking, I don't know what they get paid, and you get paid $40,000 a year, when you leave, it should reflect that. Your bank account should reflect that. You shouldn't be a millionaire. Goddamn, AOC is worth like $20 million now. How is that fucking possible? That's graft. She is stealing from the American people, period, end of story. That's fucking graft. They should be arrested for that. But no, what they do is they create these fucking laws that only apply to them, not the people.
No, the laws only apply to us.
That's what I'm saying. They create a law that says, hey, it's okay if they use the inside inside information that they have to do trades on Wall Street. Fucking bullshit. There's also a constitutional amendment. You can't pass any laws against U.S. Citizens that don't apply to them. So they should be arrested, period. Nancy Pelosi should be in fucking jail right now because of insider trading. No different than, I mean, think about this. If they can fucking arrest Martha Stewart for insider trading,
Martha Stewart, yeah.
If they can arrest, America's golden girl for insider trading, they can arrest Nancy Pelosi. Fuck those people. All they do is steal from us. That's it. That's all they do. They don't do anything for you. There's nothing that there's not a goddamn thing that Nancy Pelosi has done for any American, period.
And even with them stealing, I mean, they're stealing fucking 40% of your money.
And I say again,
and it's not like they're taking your money to do theirs. They're just creating money.
Yeah,
they're stealing from you to keep you in a lower position. It's not like they take the money from you and then they take part of that money. They're just creating new money. It doesn't exist, but they fucking do that to keep you lower and lower and lower and lower and lower.
And I go hard in the paint on the Democrats because let's be realistic, Democrats are evil. But the Republicans are just as fucking thieving bitches too. Fucking Crenshaw is doing the exact same shit that Nancy Pelosi's doing. Crenshaw. So the big fucking war hero, the big, he's going to do the right for American people. He's using insider trading to pad his fucking pocket. If he was a real dude, he would tell them fuck off. That is not why we're here. And he would do everything he could in his power to pass laws that would make it illegal for those assholes in fucking Congress to be able to do that shit.
You heard David Goggins talk about Crenshaw?
Yeah, I know they got a beef.
No, it's hilarious.
I know they got a beef.
He was on Rob Bailey and Singerman's podcast. Yeah.
I know
for about 90 minutes. Yeah,
I know they got a beef. If I was King Neptune, if I was King Neptune, Super Master Chief, Navy SEAL, I'd take motherfucking Crenshaw's Budweiser away. I'd be like, you're out of the game, bro. You're not doing anything for your community. You're not doing anything for your people. You're just padding your pocket. Fuck you. Take his Budweiser on national TV. I'd probably wait till he was on until Congress was in session, then march in there and trident in hand and just pluck that thing right off of his fucking uniform.
I'd go in there and take Dan Crenshaw's EMP shield off his Tesla.
No, I would leave it. I would just take the ground off.
Just take the ground off.
Yeah.
EMP shield, guys. If you want an EMP shield, use code SOE. It'll give you $50 off your order. Check them out at empshield.com. We weren't planning to do this today.
No, sorry, Dan. I know I went hard on you, but you are just like Nancy Pelosi.
I heard he has both eyes.
Well, if you pay attention, if you really pay attention.
The eye patch switches sides.
Yeah, if you look at Dan Crenshaw a year ago, his patch is on the other side.
Yep.
That's it.